Ray Fuentes. I'm the Red Shoe Broker, host of Interview with a Rockstar, and today's guest is Timothy Morgan, CEO and founder of Giver Marketing. Hi, Timothy. How you doing today?
Hey, good, Ray. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to have conversation.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I do appreciate you agreeing to be on the show and not charging me anything. That's pretty cool.
Hey, when we have fun, it doesn't even feel like work or anything like that, right?
That's right. I found out something, before I do the show, I do a little research on today on you. And you know what I found out? Our birthdays are a week apart.
Come on now.
In March.
March, huh?
Mine's
okay.
March 10th.
You're on 10th? Okay.
Yeah. So
great.
I thought that was interesting. Something about you I didn't know before.
Yeah, we got to wear green in the same, in the same week or two, and
It
make sure
explains the red hair for you.
Come on now. Top of the morning to you. Yeah.
And what's funny is, for the longest time, I never really celebrated my birthday on the 10th. I always celebrated it on St. Patrick's Day.
Smart man.
Smart man. And as a joke, I used to say that I'm, Puerto Rican. So much like the wee folk, I'm from a small island that drinks a lot of beer. So.
That's the truth. That is the truth. That's funny.
Yeah. So we met. Like many folks that I get an opportunity to interview, we've met at some networking event, and I don't know if it was Rockstar Connect, but I think it was with something else. It was about 2 years ago, maybe 3.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of connecting points that are kind of interesting. We were at a training seminar together at the Sacramento real estate office.
Ah, okay.
I mean, probably longer than 2 years ago, but that was just for, it seemed like just an hour or so. And then we ended up really connecting through Katie Cantrell.
Yeah.
And kind of some of her networking around town, introductions, things like this. And then obviously really started chatting it up on social media, and then ended up, connecting on a deeper level. And it's just, I just really appreciate the conversation and the depth of that conversation. It's super fun.
A second thing I found out that we have a little bit in common is, first off, for those of you that don't know Timothy was a pastor. Were you a youth pastor?
Yeah, I was a senior pastor, associate pastor for 15 years. And ended up kind of buying buildings, selling micro businesses along the way as well. And just love people, just love helping people. And
you went, it was a Foursquare church.
Yeah, there's a couple of Foursquare churches in Northern California that I was able to serve at for that time period, and really just, I don't know, the mentorship and the leadership around that area has been a real blessing for me.
And the reason I bring that up is, most people know me that I know that I was a veteran. I moved here to California. I came from overseas. I came from Korea, and the Air Force dropped me off here in the Sacramento area and then said, get out. And the first church that I started going to here was a Foursquare church, which it's funny how people have certain things that they somehow relate, but we don't talk about it. So I mean, I typically don't talk about church and religion on the show, but it was something we had in common. So I wanted to share that bit of information.
Super fun. I bet we know some of the same people in those circles. It's so neat.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And my pastor, I saw him actually, because I moved churches. I want to say about 10 years ago, because I physically moved. Right. And so I moved to a church that was closer to where I lived. At the time, I just called him Pastor Dan Reason.
Okay.
Years later, I was managing a real estate office in Rockland. I don't remember if he was doing like investment properties or maintenance or something like that, but he came in and did a presentation. He had asked to do a presentation and talk to the broker, and the broker said, yeah, and here comes Dan, Pastor Dan. He walks in the office. I'm like, hi, what are you doing here? He goes, hi, Ray. Got into a conversation, and he got into building maintenance or repairs or flipping or something like that. And he was giving a class for us on that. And
How
that
fun.
was about 6 or 7 years ago. I haven't talked to him since, except that I believe he went and started working at Caleb. He wanted to get back into the ministry. So
Yeah, I've known a couple of guys do that, and yeah, there seems to be a good network uh, in Northern California and kind of the region, and I really appreciated that over the years.
yeah. And speaking of maintenance, that was something I didn't know that you did. Well, what exactly did you do? You said it was maintenance building. Was it during the
Yeah, it was kind of an
real estate
interesting
boom?
deal during the last real estate boom. And depending on when you're watching this, who knows, how things are going and all that. But talk to Ray; he'll answer those questions. But last time around, ended up starting home maintenance companies and working with real estate agents to make sure and prepare the homes for sale, specifically the outside of the home, and did that from the age of 16.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I had a teacher ask me to clean their windows, and then it just kind of blossomed from there. So that's kind of the backstory behind the micro business world, that I just wanted to make some money to get to college and put some gas in the car and make a living somehow along the way, and that became my talent and my skill set from the early years. And gosh, it carried all the way through seminary, not seminary, but Bible college, and just different learning experiences along the way. So really helped keep food on the table and all of that.
Yeah.
Even as I was pastoring, it was like one of those things where if we needed a few extra dollars for grocery money, or we wanted to get some more revenue coming in, and not have to go solely focused on just income from ministry and things like that, then when I really functioned a lot like a bivocational minister, if you want to think about it that way, where I was the business guy, and we had 2 or 3 trucks running around doing maintenance on buildings and homes at one point, and during the peak, and so it was fun. Had a good time.
So I've run into several people over more than 20 years now, probably over the last 25 years, that have a similar story. I taught math. Before I got my own classroom, I was basically like a student teacher, and I was in Bella Vista, I think it might have been. And there was a young man in class. He came to the class one day, and I don't know why, but we got into a conversation. And so he's in high school. He had a pickup truck and a lawnmower and an edger, and that's what he did. And I said, well, what are you doing with that? And he said, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a business, with landscaping, yard care, landscaping. I don't know where he is now. That's, like I said, that's 20 some years ago.
Yep.
And then through a networking event, I met another gentleman in Roseville and you hit the nail on the head about cleaning windows. That's how he started. He started cleaning windows for people, and then gutters, and now he's expanding his business too.
Yep.
So I met him more recently.
Great business, especially in certain pockets, because you just want to take really good care of your home and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it was a privilege to be able to even help some other young people learn how to start a micro business, just a kind of a create your own job kind of a deal,
right?
And maybe hire 1 or 2 others, but keep it pretty simple, and make your living. And shoot, at one point I ended up selling that business and training up somebody else. They ended up taking the business to a whole another level, doing a great job. And so I just learned along the way, and it's just kind of neat how things evolve and shift, and learned a lot about guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Through that, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Guerrilla marketing. That's funny. And I'm going to get to more of that in a minute, because that's kind of what you do now. Not the guerrilla. Well, I guess some people might call it guerrilla marketing, but you do marketing now. But 2 other things I found interesting that I didn't know about you. Well, one of them was about something called the Ethos Project.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still doing that?
Yeah, Ethos Project is one of those nonprofits that we started years ago that it as I began seeing the need in communities,
Hmm.
I knew sometimes it was the best fit for like a church to go help somebody. And in that time, I was part of the leadership of a church or part of a group that would really be able to help certain individuals. But then there was those outlier situations that you couldn't bring a church name into the situation.
Hmm.
And so we basically just started a nonprofit to help families in need that we didn't really feel it was appropriate to say the church gave you this or helped you in this way. It was really more of a subtle expression of faith. But ethos really, that word means the expression of your faith and your beliefs. And it's also tied to the word ethics
Hmm.
as well. And so there's a kind of a practical expression of what you actually believe. And so that's where that came from. And it's kind of fun because we get to keep it going. And whenever there's someone who wants to give away a car or someone who wants to donate gift certificates to this family over here, and they don't necessarily feel like it's appropriate to give, or there's a family in Southern California where their daughter was dealing with a health condition, and we're looking at like grants and other things to be able to help get some relief to that family based on a medical condition. And it didn't really have anything to do with a particular church. It was just that we wanted to help that family. So we pick families periodically, and people send us candidates for an Ethos project, and we try to surprise them the best we can. People will do, those fundraising things for marathons, make
Right.
sure the funds get to where they need to go, and then everybody gets a tax write-off, and everybody's happy, and the world goes round. So
Well, yeah.
it's just an extension of our family and our faith, really, at the end of the day. So it's super fun. Really enjoy it.
It was very interesting for me to find that. I mean, not the idea of finding it, but finding it and getting a little bit more information. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
When we last met in person, you were teaching a class here in the Sacramento area about LinkedIn, which is kind of your forte there. And then I found out recently you are no longer in the Sacramento region. You're in Oregon.
Yeah, we ended up because of just some family dynamics and there's obviously some health considerations happening all over the country at the time of
Right.
this recording anyway. And, there always is shifting and moving and changing in different states. We just felt like our season and our time in California was coming to a close. And so we bought a home on the coast of Oregon, and we're loving it. It's just totally different pace of life. And I still love Sacramento region. So I come back once a month, hang out with some friends and connect with people like yourself, and just hanging out with brothers and others. And so I really enjoy clients, I really enjoy connecting in person whenever possible.
Well, next time you're in Sacramento, let me know. I'd love to sit down with you. But my question was going to be, and is now, my question is now, so were you escaping California? Like many people, as a realtor, I hear that a lot, right? People move into Idaho and Tennessee and
Yeah,
Kentucky.
the short answer is yes, but to fill out that answer a little bit, it's always interesting to learn what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
We had a my wife and I, we had a certain number of years we wanted to be in California to begin with. We knew
Ah,
we were going to end up either near her parents, near my parents. You know how that goes. I
yeah,
mean,
most certainly.
yeah. So when our parents are, saying, "Hey, come visit more often," those kind of things, it's just a matter of time before you're spending more time in the car driving to
Right.
visit for holidays and birthdays and this and that. And so it just made sense to pull the trigger a little early. Our plan was
Yeah, good for you.
not recently, but we went ahead and just did it because we felt like The numbers made sense, the emotions made sense, the timing, the faith components are all, a part of that decision making process too. So yeah, we were in agreement, and hey, you know how it goes. If you and your lady are in agreement, ain't nothing gonna stop you. You
Right?
gotta move. So yeah.
And with the kind of business you have now, I don't think that was affected, right? I mean, you could still. I mean, a lot of so most of the training that I've gotten from you, that I've received from you, was either over the phone or through Zoom.
Yeah, with the exception of that very first training,
That's
everything else
correct.
was pretty, pretty virtual, or could have been virtual even.
Right.
But it's one of those interesting things where we had planned for this, you know, for years.
Right.
We knew things were going virtual. There was a time when I was sitting in front of every single client physically,
Yeah.
and the rare exception was virtual. Now it's flipped, and many businesses, industries are like this now. But bottom line for us is almost every one of our metrics doubled during the health crisis and the economic
Yes.
shifts and just different things happening. Uh, in our particular industry, marketing, it more people literally felt the need to get up to speed in some of their marketing, and no matter what their industry was doing, they just needed to get dialed in.
Right.
That's the main thing, right? It's almost like people realized they didn't have the right clothing on.
Right.
They got to go and buy some clothing. Otherwise, it's not. They're not going to be well received. And
Correct.
it almost felt like that. Like people were walking around in, their swim trunks, and they needed to be in a suit. You know what I mean? And so
Absolutely.
that's in a way kind of what it felt like for us as a company. Everybody started knocking on our door, and it's just a privilege to be able to, to navigate those waters smoothly, as opposed to, whoa. So we
Well,
were prepared. It was good. It was good.
let's talk about your business specifically, because I wanted to do this. We mentioned the health crisis, and there are quite a few people, not just in California and Oregon, but all over the United States, that have started their own business or purchased into a business. I know some of them are having, maybe not struggling, but need help with marketing. You are a true professional and expert marketer. Tell us a little bit about your business, Giver Marketing. How does that work? And whatever else you can share with us. I'm going to bring up a slide real quick. For
Oh,
those of you that are watching, I'm going to share the information that we have here. Well, I noticed we use the same red, almost.
yeah. I think it's pretty close, man.
Yeah. So as you're watching, if you decide that you need some help marketing or maybe getting started in business, here's some information for contacting Timothy. It's his phone number and email, and some social media. So go ahead and tell us, what exactly do you do?
Well, yeah. What happened was, years ago, I was doing the ministry thing, nonprofit work, and doing a lot of community service and different things, and buying, building, selling those micro businesses, cleaning businesses, and different things. Uh, Found out that really the part of business and even ministry that I love was the outreach, the communication, the marketing, the different ways of getting the word out. And so I really felt a green light to start a little boutique agency and see how we could take some of this low cost, no cost type strategies, guerrilla marketing, right?
Yeah.
That's really what that is, and start implementing them with companies, see if we could improve their efforts dramatically. And that's exactly what happened. And then the clients started asking for coaching. So you'll notice even on the LinkedIn visual here, it says Coach Timothy Morgan.
Right.
That's because over the years, more and more clients have asked for coaching, and we've actually began packaging up everything we do with a coaching piece, coaching element. And so whether it's building a website, managing social media, helping you with other aspects of even preparing you for television interviews and other things, the coaching piece has become the core, and we have a signature process that we walk through in coaching clients. But We just love it. We love being in the highest rated reviewed network of marketing specialists in the country. It's just a privilege to be able to say that and to partner with other professionals. We have a couple of dozen other professionals that we consider part of the family, part of the tribe, that go in and they're like special, sharpshooters. They're just specialists that go in and work on very specific projects, and they do it in half the time and do twice the work, twice the amount of the work, and do great work, get great results. And so we're just rocking and rolling as a collective of marketing specialists, including that coaching piece.
You really found my trigger word there. You didn't say the trigger word, but you mentioned low cost, no cost. My favorite word is free. So if I can get some marketing for free, I'm going to take advantage of it. You can go into as much of it as you'd like, but one of the pieces that I saw that was very helpful for me was your LinkedIn process, generating leads using LinkedIn. And it's not, for those of you watching, it's not reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, buy my service, or like I'm a real estate agent. If you're thinking of selling your house, contact me. It's not like that at all. It was more along the lines of introductions and developing your sphere of influence. So I don't know if you want to talk about that, but the LinkedIn aspect was huge for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because more and more coaches, consultants, advisors, brokers, community leaders are coming and asking specifically for that LinkedIn strategy and the language around it, so that they don't continue to compromise their brand by spamming people.
Exactly.
And that's where we found our kind of differentiator, is that we're thinking 10-year blocks, not short-term sales. Even though about 6, 12, 18 months into a good campaign, you're going to start seeing like popcorn sales start coming if you do it right and you have a good strategy, and especially in the business to business world and the business to professional kind of world. I know you work with a lot of professionals and who are trying to get some real estate going, but at the end of the day, that LinkedIn strategy has produced more for our company and our clients' companies than any other strategies combined. It's
Wow.
not even close. We're on track right now for about 1,000 appointments in our little company with our little team. And the fact that we have the privilege of having meaningful conversations with that many people that we want to try to help at some point. It doesn't have to be this month. It could be next month. It doesn't have to be next month. It could be sometime next year.
Right.
It's the timing. It's almost like asking a girl to dance. The timing is imperative, and the way it's done is so important. Nothing worse than somebody trying to force a square peg in a round hole and trying to, what I mean?
Absolutely.
And 90% of marketing agencies that we come across that are asking us for advice, which is happening quite a bit now, that's the number one piece of advice we're giving them. Please stop the spam and pay attention to the relational equity and the trust that you're building with your audience. Deeply think about that. Incorporate your narrative, your story. Like we just shared a little bit of story today. That's important for people to know whether they want to work with you or not. It's not just how you look and how big your smile is. It's a lot of other pieces. We talk a lot about branding, and branding is more than your logo. Even though you have a great logo, Ray, you really do. You really do. It's a good one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That your person has to complement that logo, your approach. It has to make sense to the ethos of who you are. Not to get funny with the words today, but that's the essence of who you are. Through your aspirations and your beliefs and how you roll and what you do. So we get really passionate about being true to your story, being true to aligning who you are with your venture, whether we're helping a church, some other nonprofit, a business. Our whole mission is causes and companies doing good in the world. That's who we help. And you fall in that category. So a lot of other individuals and companies and causes do as well. And so it's a privilege to be givers in not only good information, by the way, it's not just information, it's good information.
Right.
That works. And helping you apply it through the coaching. But also we love to hold back a certain percentage of our revenue and hold that in like an escrow type account, to use the language, and have that ready as a matching grant to partner with our clients and give to a nonprofit or charity of their choice. We love doing that kind of stuff. So there's multiple ways to give. You can give time, talent, treasure, all different ways to give, but we like to have kind of a well-rounded approach on that. And we're not random acts of kindness type of people. We're strategic, generous type of people in our organization, and we tend to attract the same types.
That's right. That is one of the aspects of interview with a rock star, is the know you, like you, trust you aspect of meeting people and getting to know people and doing business with people, but also for the guests, but also it's one of the reasons I brought up the Ethos Project. I don't want to say it doesn't have anything to do with your business, but it certainly does. But many people don't know about a company or an individual and what they're giving back. And I think that's an important aspect. So that's what I try to do with Interview with a Rockstar, get to know people and not just their business, more about them. So
very interesting conversation. And I know that we're probably coming, to the end of our time today, but there is a interesting question that you just kind of alluded to there that we get a lot. How much information or how much bragging should we do as a company when we give back to the community? It's a fair question. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy question, because there's some components of our faith that says, hey, don't, if you're giving something with your left hand, don't let your right hand know.
Right, exactly.
And there's other elements of just common sense that says, well, hey, if I go ahead and just at least share the story of what happened when we were able to partner with this nonprofit or whatever we were doing to bless somebody or help the community in some way, that might inspire 10 other people to do the same thing. So I think when it comes right down to it, you and I could have a conversation about this for hours, but when it comes right down to it, you have to check your motives of why you're doing what you're doing. Is it just for ego, attention, and a few more dollars in the kitty for your business purposes? Or is it really a long-term part of who you actually are? Like, whether you worked for another company or you had your own business, would you still consider contributing to this organization or this effort? If the answer is yes, then I say highlight it in your business. If it's, oh no, I'm just doing this because it's a marketing strategy, it's basically a goodwill effort, and all I'm doing is leveraging my, the goodwill and the good name of this company so we can make more money, I say stop. I say check yourself, look in the mirror, and pull that ego down to a moderate level, and reset, and then maybe circle back. How about try giving for a little period of time without sharing too much, and just maybe slip it through other channels and let them get a little bit of love for a while.
Right. Maybe let it come through the heart.
Yeah. Let your heart reset, and then go again and get aligned, and then kill it. Like, everybody has to do once in a while. Goodness gracious. We sometimes overcomplicate this stuff, and I get really passionate, as you can tell, about letting generosity be a part of who you actually are, whether people are looking or not. But if we want eyeballs on good, I'd rather hear good stories right now about people giving to, different things than some random fear-based crazy story that maybe has some truth to it, but not really. Like, to me, that stuff is way distracting, way sideways energy. So yeah, that's why we love to give and share about it in some cases, and in many cases actually, because we feel like for every story we share, there's another 10 people or more, really, hundreds of,
There are lots, yes.
yeah, a lot of people want to get involved with that kind of activity, and it may have nothing to do with our business or that particular charity, but maybe in their neck of the woods or their sphere of influence, they can be inspired to do something or do a matching grant or give back a portion of their revenue or whatever they want to do. We feel like this is a new norm. Socially conscious capitalism is a big deal.
Absolutely. So I've been a coach for a while, you know this, for realtors. And what I found out is there are other people out there that need the same kind of help, not about buying and selling real estate or sales particularly, but some of the classes that I was teaching. And we had talked about Wheel of Life. And I mentioned that I am now licensed as a Choose to Win coach. And one of the things I didn't do is I didn't send you I think I might have mentioned it. I might have even showed it to you. There is a Wheel of Life assessment. And down here's the Wheel of Life. And there's directions right here, but basically on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you feel about the way you look? Or how are you listening to your family or your career? What do you love to do? And then you add them all up and divide by 10, and whatever number you come up with, you put it here. And it's rarely perfectly round on 10s and rarely perfectly round on 1s. You know, there's a little spike in here. And that's kind of what, for those of you that are interested, just let me know. I'll make arrangements for you to get a copy of this. But I'll make sure you get a copy, Timothy, because we talked about it. If you choose to use it, great. And if not, that's okay too, right?
I'll definitely use this or some version of it. I love this kind of exercise that becomes more of a habit. Like I love this stuff. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things you brought up was this is not something you do once. You know, you can do, and not that you would do it every day necessarily, but maybe, you know, once a year or once a quarter or even once a month. The goal there, of course, is to, you know, see how you can balance your life a little better. It may not be perfect, but how can we do that? So, all right. Any last words, Timothy, you'd like to share?
No, I just appreciate the conversation and how transparent and authentic the questions were allowed us to really dig deep into conversation in a meaningful way. And so I really appreciate that. At the end of the day, if somebody has a need with marketing, you know, between you and I and anybody listening, we have resources. There's a lot of information out there, but you don't want to waste your time. Time is too valuable. And I like the word free as well, but digesting information is not free. It takes your time. And so we really have to evaluate where we're getting our structures, our systems, even that balance you were talking about. And we hyper focus on marketing. So if you want to just reach out, I'll give you some resources just to be generous, because if somebody reaches out, I have a bit of an obligation to help at least with something.
Right.
It's not, you're not going to go hungry around our group of people, yours included. So I appreciate you having the conversation. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Before we sign off, go ahead and click down here or over here, like and share, and then you'll have an opportunity to see the last video that we did with Katie Cantrell, a stylist for men's clothing. She has a great story behind it. Go ahead and click on that. My name's Broker Ray. Broker Ray out.